proof is out there. Seek the proof.
What's going on, everybody?
Hey.
Welcome back to, what is it, episode 6?
Episode 6.
Episode 6 of The Proof is Out There. Seek the proof. And as you can see, once again, we have the ever wonderful Amanda Bryant on stage with us this evening. It being Women's History Month, we thought it only appropriate to dive into something that Amanda's actually been talking about all month on her Facebooks and everything like that.
A lot of great posts.
Yeah.
A lot of great information out there.
Women in distillation.
Yeah.
Women in distillation.
It's badass history.
That's right. A lot of people don't understand. A lot of people don't know. You know,
yeah, I think it's common misconception
in history. Yeah.
Where are we starting here with this?
Go ahead, Amanda.
I think the way it makes most sense to me would be to kind of talk about it chronologically.
Okay.
There you go.
Because I find it interesting that when you look back at the history of distilling, I mean, you could go back, the farthest we can go back is the very first documented recipe for fermentation, right? So when we talk about distilling, we're also going to talk about just alcohol in general or fermentation.
Yeah.
Before maybe there was an understanding of what distilling actually was. And as far back as in Mesopotamia and Egyptian times, there was a goddess of fermentation known as Ninkasi. And we know this because this is the first documented actual recipe and the first recipe for a brew or fermentation of beer. And it's written on little tablets, and there's a lot of depictions of early Egyptians brewing, but they essentially prayed to or worshiped gods of fermentation and distillation. Goddesses, I'm sorry, they were goddesses. And the same goddesses were of fertility, fermentation, and so on. I do have some pictures there of like early Mesopotamia, and then there is Egypt as well, where they are kind of worshiping these goddesses and drinking this beer.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
And it's a drawn out, it's a poem actually, which was probably word of mouth long before it was ever recorded. But
things usually are. Yeah.
Yeah. The first recording of it, kind of like portions of it that are pulled out, which I was sharing with Wayne earlier because I thought it was pretty interesting. It says in translation, right? So obviously this is ancient Mesopotamian, but the translation of this is, Ninkasi, you are the one who soaks the malt in the jar. The waves rise, the waves fall. You are the one who holds with both hands the great sweet wort brewing with honey and wine. When you pour out the filtered beer of the collector vat, it is on the rush of the Tigris and the Euphrates. The Gallic vat, which I don't know what that Gallic means, which makes the liver happy and rejoices the heart. Our liver is happy, our heart is joyful. So this is one of the oldest written documentations that is a recipe for one, but it also is describing fermentation of honey
grains. Sounds like in the beginning, like they was describing the malting process or the brewing process, depending on how you look at it, with the grains, soaking the grains, and that's very interesting. So I didn't know anything about Ninkasi, actually. I mean, honestly, I didn't know diddly about it until Amanda told me about it. Very interesting.
Yeah, and it's like I think it's pretty commonly known that in ancient Egypt, the women were responsible for the grains, preparing grains and food and beverage, and beer and fermentation was kind of consumed at that time for health and nutrition, more so than it was to become intoxicated.
So that art of brewing and distilling, that originally was the woman's job, correct?
Yeah,
or
it was a domestic.
like a household. Yeah, it was just a household chore or something that was just done.
Mhm. Women
Yeah.
were in charge of the kitchen, cooking, preparing and storing ingredients, and I think it was commonly thought to be an attractive trait if your potential or future wife could brew, distill. It's something
Heck
that
yeah.
yeah, right. It's pretty. I mean, even today, it's still like pretty cool. Mothers taught this to their daughters, just like you would have to know how to clean, cook, sew, and brewing and fermentation was really, really a common part of the household back in a time where just imagine a time where there was no store you can go to buy beer. There was no taverns. There was no liquor stores. Distilling, brewing, fermentation was just a common part of the household responsibilities.
Yeah, they were a lot of times they would sell their beer that they called them alewives, correct?
Yeah, yeah, it's
Hmm.
yeah, but some wives that they said, or they say that widows who
Mhm.
weren't preparing it for their families could were selling it, and
Oh,
that's
gosh.
where this is probably Wayne. We have discussed this before, but I think one of the most colorful pieces of the history of women in distilling, and probably a big portion that people don't realize. So I'll jump right to everyone knows the modern day depiction of what a witch is, right?
That's right.
You guys know the witch. So this is originally a brew wife. The brew wife would
Yeah.
stand on the corner and do you know why she would wear a pointy hat? Do you know why she would wear the pointy hat?
Visibility. People to see her.
Yeah. So
Spot her.
if you were standing in the street market and you saw a woman with a pointy hat, you knew that she was the brew wife and you can go to her to get alcohol. There was the tradition of hanging a broom outside of her door. Do you
Hmm.
know where that would have been done?
I read that, but I'm not for certain.
So they would hang and there's early depictions of this, a broom hanging outside of the door of the home when the fermentation was finished, when you could actually go and buy alcohol
Wow.
from her. It was a sign that the beer or the brew was done.
Okay.
I got you. That's wow. Okay.
And commonly they would have had cats and they would have been seen standing around cauldrons and stirring. But I think there were also alchemists. Right, early alchemy at that time was a science of distillation and
Hmm.
medicine. And
Hmm.
then essentially what happened is, and not everybody likes this version of the story, but they people saw that society saw that women were becoming, financially stable and getting money from this practice of selling
Right.
alcohol. The first taverns, they opened their homes. These brewers opened their homes to the public, where you could come in and sit in her home, and she would kind of serve you.
Hmm.
Um, it was the first early taverns, essentially, but people saw that was happening, and it was a mix, I think, of at the time, and this is kind of up to any, you could have input on here what you guys think, but I know the Catholic Church took part in it. It was kind of one of the first temperance movements where
Yeah.
they tried to
Mm.
take the depiction of this sweet little brew wife, and you see her, she had like rosy cheeks and she looked like a cute little grandma, and then we start to see a depiction of her where she looks like a wicked witch.
Yeah.
Um,
Hideous. And yeah.
she was
Yeah.
evil, and
Yeah.
and
Eventually, people tried to push women out of the craft.
Well, that would have been right around the time of the probably I'm guessing the Roman Catholic Church, the movement, Roman Catholicism spreading widespread really hindered women in a lot of ways with the things that they had been doing throughout history at that point. Amanda, like you said, they were, in my belief, women have always been one of the most important things that held households together. And from one of the things that you said, a lot of the things that you said earlier about what they did, it perfectly explains why. And that also explains why, Roman Catholic Church coming in, wanting to control everything and take over everything, why they would have kind of tried to push that role of women to the side.
I think it's
that.
it's part of history that's occurring in the 15 and 1600s, where you're also seeing a change in the use of alcohol, right? So
Hmm.
kind of even mid to late 1600s, there's books written where alcohol is being distilled, or the Distiller of London, for example, which is reprinted. It's a copy you can find by Sarah Pask, but it's a copy from 1694, I believe, and it's annual book that was published every year and given to the distillers in London. But
Oh, wow.
these recipes were for medicine, essentially. If you read the book, all of the ingredients would have not been obviously there for flavor enhancement, but for medicine. And around this time, we start to see where, and this is also a part of forgotten distilling history, where lots of distilling originally was for medicine. And around this time, we start to see people get away from alcohol for medicinal use, right? And they start to maybe become recreationally drinking more commonly. And
Yeah, I was
that
going to
could
ask you
be-
when that happened. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know
Wait.
exactly when.
You got to imagine that that first person that was just like taking the medicine there. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
What if I drink more of this?
You feel great,
Right.
right?
Wow.
And there was some good stuff in the medicine back then. I mean, I'm sure
Oh,
you
yeah.
were feeling real good if you were taking some of the early medication.
A little
Who
bit of
knows?
opium, a little bit of
Yeah.
So,
cocaine. all
yeah,
kinds of
there's,
stuff.
my wife, she's really got into tinctures. And so I make, or if I made alcohol, I would make the alcohol for her to do those tinctures. And, but yeah, just she's getting books and she's learning. But these are all things that were just common back then, medicines that use plants that just grew there in your area. It's, I'm learning more and more of that and starting to get into that in my craft distillation is the herbal stuff, like absinthe and things like that. But yeah, but there was a line where those things kind of changed. And also when we were talking earlier, Amanda, maybe it was yesterday, maybe, but anyway, we're talking about how many women were tortured or killed.
Yeah.
Because of this craft.
Yeah,
Because of what they
imagine
knew.
If some of these distilling women were alive, and myself included, during the time of the Great Witch Trials, right?
Oh,
We
yeah.
would have been burned at
It's
the
witchcraft.
stake
It's witchcraft.
for making some whiskey. It's
Yeah.
an interesting way to think about it.
Yeah, and being labeled as that was the easy way out. Label you as witches, and they're witches, and they floated. Let's kill them.
Yeah, I wonder where that. I don't. So I can you can trace back the pointy hat, the broom, the cat, and the cauldron. Right, you can trace all that stuff back to actual things that brewwise were doing at the time. But where did the flying come into? Like, where did they?
Well, I think that has to do with a little bit more ancient paganism stuff. The actual flying.
Oh, the witches flying on the brooms.
Yeah.
Or somebody had
Damon,
too much ale to drink, maybe.
Damon, you know what? You know why they kept the cats?
Why?
Well, you got all that grain around.
Oh, mice.
Draws mice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna make an off-color joke about Chinese food. Good thing I didn't.
Oh my gosh.
We're live, okay? Calm down.
That's why I said I didn't, but I kind of did. But anyway.
So really quickly, because I feel like we just kind of jumped a huge span of time there. But so the first documented, history of alcohol making was to a goddess. But do you know who made the first, or who is accredited, I should say, because who is accredited with the development of the early pot still?
That would be Mary, the Jewess.
Yeah.
And she had other names as well. There's Maria Prophetessa. There's several names that
I've seen the daughter of Plato.
Yeah.
She's essentially known as a very early big contributor to early alchemy. And
she's accredited to developing a couple different pieces of distillation equipment.
Now, was there something at hers a picture of hers on here?
Pictures 4, 5, and 6 are related to this topic. So this is a Baie Marie still, which the name Baie Marie actually it's named after her. It's known as Mary's Bath, was where we get the name Baie Marie from. Yeah. Baie Marie, for anyone watching, is essentially a still submerged in water. Common today, we have a jacketed or a steam still, and there are steam stills that still operate from a Baie Marie. We also see oil jacketed stills. So she actually is accredited for helping to develop or developing and use of this, and that is documented historically. And this is as early as the first, so we don't know exactly when she lived, but this is between the 1st to the 3rd century AD. Wow, she lived in ancient Egypt, Alexandria, and possibly Mesopotamia.
That picture that's still right there. It's I love it because it's a reflux still. It is it's the earliest model of a still for fractional distillation to really be able to separate things at a higher point. From a design standpoint, it's got the water bath up top, which is cooling those vapors that come up and they drop back down. So it's just an amazing piece.
That's I love this picture. I mean,
yeah,
I do too.
The modern day Trivicos is exactly
beautiful.
the same as it's still a piece of chemistry equipment that has changed very little since this time when it was developed. It's like, it's the glass with the arm that you see coming down, and then so she's accredited with helping to develop the Alembic still, and then the Bain Marie, which is the water bath still that would be cooked by the furnace. The furnace would boil that water, essentially jacketing the vessel with the wort or beer in it, and then the alcohol would be distilled into the little catch vessel, which you see on the side there. So and she's also known for some other, or at least helping to develop or record the science of distillation and alchemy, and other equipment as well, right? Rain, we had discussed.
Yeah.
She worked on some things even as early as then.
Yeah. The Tribicos, as you mentioned, and then there's one called Keratakis, which I think was the picture that you had up there. The Tribicos was do you have a picture of that too? It's got the three arms.
So no, I don't have a Tribicos on here just yet. But yeah, the Tribicos does have 3 arms. We don't have one up here.
And again, this is for fractional distillation to be able to pull off at different points. Very interesting. And I just find it interesting that all this was designed and thought of and thought up by a woman. It's amazing.
How
what? He's shocked. Did you hear that?
No, I'm not shocked. I'm kind of excited. I think it's really neat. I think it's really neat that that a woman did that instead of a man.
Amanda, you were saying that this is like 1st and 2nd century.
So we don't know exactly when she lived, but it is believed that they date it between the 1st to the 3rd century AD.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah. I did a little story about this that I shared online, and Alan Bishop chimed in and mentioned that that he has, because obviously he has a really in-depth understanding of alchemy and the history of it, that his belief, he's named a still after her. But so that's pretty cool. Nice little homage. But he believes that she could even maybe be Mary Magdalene, because she would have lived at that time, or could have lived at that time. And that's an interesting concept.
I found some of that information leading to that, or pointing in that direction when I was doing some research. There's a lot, there's a lot we don't know, and there's a lot of speculation. But
that's interesting, though.
Yeah, very interesting.
You never think about in that perspective. Mary Magdalene kind of, wow, that's kind of changes things around a little bit.
I found a riddle that she was accredited for, and
riddle me this.
And so I still I haven't wrapped my head around it completely, but it says 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 3, and out of the 3rd, the 1 as the 4th, or comes the 1 as the 4th. So let's I don't know. It's just
break that down. What? No,
my
line. What was the first one?
All right. So 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 3, and out of the 3rd comes the 1 as the 4th.
Hold on, slow down. Let's think about it. 1 becomes 2. Yep. What could that be? 1 becomes.
It sounds like
2.
I know she was trying to practice metallurgy, right? The process, or an early alchemy was the process of taking one substance and essentially turning it into something else. That is what distillation is. And my brain went right away to proof, or like how we are compressing or condensing alcohol through distillation. Whereas when we start fermentation and maybe like 1% alcohol, then it's 2% alcohol, and maybe as much as 4 or 5% alcohol. Then when we distill it, it becomes, doubled down. We're doubling it down. We're increasing it by, tenfold really, but that was kind of what my brain went right to. But yeah, I don't know. It sounds
I'm gonna have to keep looking into that because it got my attention. Wow. It was one of those things that just makes you think. And I like stuff like that. I
do. Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna keep trying to figure that out. It's interesting. I have not heard that before. Thank you for sharing. Good.
Every once in a while, I have some useless information that just
every now and again.
Every day.
You had all kinds of useless information in the last podcast we did.
I do. Wow. Full of useless stuff.
And you know what? Just so you know, Wayne, when we got done with it, I did go watch it again.
Oh yeah. Oh, you mean the podcast? Your podcast on the
the movie. Night of the Comet.
Yeah.
Night of the Comet. I'm sure Jay loves that movie.
Which movie is this?
Night of the Comet.
Oh, I'm not familiar.
It's 1984.
It's 80s. It's 80s goodness, but that's not what we're here to talk about today.
No, you're telling us to stay on topic. Listen to the guy telling us to stay on topic, and
I just brought it right back. So what's the
Women's History Month?
Women's History Month this month.
Yeah.
Who are you celebrating over there, Wayne?
Who am I celebrating?
Yeah.
Just women in general. I think they're awesome. Can't do nothing without. We couldn't have distillation without them.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have a show without them.
It would take a lot longer. Taking men a lot longer to figure it out. Maybe.
We'd still be at drinking beer.
Yeah.
There's an old herbal beer Gruit that I really liked. It's been hard to find.
You like it?
I love that stuff. I had a buddy of mine that used to make it for me. And boy,
Alan Bishop makes it.
Yeah, and I've talked to him about it.
I've never tasted it. I've heard it was unpleasant. Is it not? Is it pleasant? I mean, I guess it depends on how you make it.
I'll tell you, Amanda, after about 3 of them, it's all pleasant, baby. It's
all pleasant. Okay, I get that. I get it.
It's got wormwood in it, so
yeah.
Okay.
It's got a lot of stuff in there. After about 3 of them, after about 3 12-ounce bottles, you're feeling pretty good, and it all tastes good.
And it's good for you.
Yeah, it's all herbal. It's good stuff. Yeah. It's good stuff. So who do we have next after Mary the Jewess?
So I think we touched on how brewing and distilling became a domestic trade for women. Yeah. Basically, we see the early alewives coming into the picture where women are making alcohol and selling it in some small scale. And these women were not doing this out of desperation, similar to female moonshiners, right? They were doing it because it paid the bills. It put bread on the table. And some of them were doing it very well. I think right around this time, shortly, so there's obviously the whole witch trials, and women were not caught dead anywhere near a cauldron making beer, near a pot still. Could you imagine performing alchemy or distilling or making any kind of alcohol around this time? It would have been very dangerous for a woman to do. But around the 1700s, we start to see examples of women who are coming back into the industry in really big ways. There is Marie Brizard.
Yeah,
have you guys heard of her?
A while ago. I didn't until we were discussing this, and I started looking up some information about her. Very interesting woman. She's done some really cool stuff.
Yeah, for sure. She was, I think she was very lucky to be where she grew up in Bordeaux, France, which was kind of like a shipping. Essentially, it was on the spice route, right? And there was lots and lots of industry moving in and out of the area where she grew up, and lots of ingredients flowing in and out, and a great mix of people, I think, which kind of inspired her to become the resilient female business owner that she was. She built Brizard Spirits in a time when women were not even allowed to sign business documentation. So not only was she not allowed to own the business, right? She couldn't even sign a piece of paper. but she definitely built up Brizard spirits to what it is. She joined with her, I believe it was her
Mm,
nephew. I think I had that written down somewhere. So, not son-in-law. She didn't have children. I believe it was her nephew in law, like her niece's married
mhm.
husband, and is Roger. So it was Brizard and Roger became, and that's how she legally opened her business. And have
She,
you heard of how she came up with the recipe, or what is she known for?
she's known for her anisette liqueur.
And
Oh,
did you
I
think
love
about maybe
Inset.
why was hers so much different than what was commonly on the market at the time?
I don't know that answer to that question.
So I think the product, from what I've read, the product that was available at the time, there was anise spirits, which had been common in other countries for medicinal elixirs, and they
Mm.
were produced in France at this time. And the history of the story, which is pretty interesting, it's part of the flagship tale that the company Brizard tells, is that Marie was nursing a man who was sick at the port. He was a sailor from another country, and I mean, I forget what country he was from. He was from another country south of France, and he, to thank her for nursing and caring for him, gave her the recipe for this medicinal spirit or elixir, which was an
Oh
anise
wow.
spirit at the time. And very commonly, this was a sharp, abrasive spirit that maybe wasn't the most marketable. And she took it and turned it into something that tasted good. So what she did was sweetened it
Okay, I
with
was going to
some
ask if
sugar.
she's sweet. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think she may be the first to create the liqueur version of it, and she's known for delicately balancing the blend of spices that went into this. And this was the precursor to what would become absinthe later,
Right.
right? So the way the spirit is made and a lot of the ingredients that go into it are very similar to what absinthe becomes later on. And I think she became so popular in what she was doing because she made one that actually tasted good, and she made it to try to make it marketable and not just medicinal. And
Okay.
they say that her location played a big part in that because of where she was located. She was able to distribute her products all over to all different countries, which had she been anywhere else, she may not have been able to distribute like she did. So she was kind of like a world spirit industry before she died. When she died, she was famous, and her label was famous, and it was all over. There's a story that it was in the King Louis, I forget, one of the Louis in Versailles, in the court of Versailles, was drinking Brizard spirits. So it was fine
Wow.
spirits. It was so well known that even the king was drinking it during her lifetime. So that is a great accomplishment for a
Yeah.
woman in
Now,
the.
is this next picture of her, is this of her?
That
Oh
is
yeah.
her.
Yeah. She built a hell of a brand. I mean, damn.
Still around today, right? And that's an incredible feat, I think.
Yeah. And I think, you say at the anisette or, anise flavored drinks, I think of like the sambucas and aguavites and the aquavites,
Yeah,
that kind of stuff,
absolutely.
caraway and anisette flavored stuff. And I love that stuff. I really
Yeah.
do.
Hmm.
So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've got wormwood growing, and I'm growing fennel this year. Jen's got some fennel started, and Amanda, I have a pot.
I need some back. Mine died.
I
My
have a
wormwood
pot, and it's
baby
got
died.
3 beautiful sprigs of wormwood.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I
Good
cared
for
for
you.
that like a little baby. And it did not like it when winter hit in the Poconos. It was like, we're out of here. It never came back.
Yeah, mine's in the ground. It loves it.
So now does wormwood need warm weather to grow, or doesn't withstand? Well, maybe, I mean, up where Amanda lives, it gets a little bit colder
It's a little
than
colder, yeah.
where the average bear lives. So maybe it just died off.
I know. Alan gave me my start, and it gets pretty cold there in Indiana.
Nice shirt.
That is. It's almost as cool as mine.
Yeah, I got this. Boy, I don't even know how many years ago I got this shirt from you.
Yeah, that's an OG one too. So yeah, I think Marie Brizard is incredible because she represents
Yeah.
a shift in women from domestic distillation into commercial distilling.
Yes.
And that's really it's an important part of the female in the distilling history, like just as a part of that. You know,
Now,
she is one of the earliest representatives of a woman doing it really successfully.
Have you had any of the this newest stuff?
I have not. I have had anisette, because now today it's very popularized and different brands make it. You see it all over in most bars. But the Marie Brizard brand specifically, I personally have not got to try.
It's a nice looking bottle too, the little crystal looking thing at the bottom.
I'm gonna pick up one of those bottles.
I thought it was interesting that, you know, how impressive is it that a business and a recipe that she developed and formed in the 1700s,
mid 1700s, yeah.
Uh-oh.
We lost our redhead.
I think, Amanda, what happened? Well, in the meantime, until she pops back in.
So what's your thoughts on your take on women and their involvement in distillation and the history of distillation? What did you come in here already knowing, and what did you?
Well, I really didn't know too much beside what Amanda was already posting here. She's back. What happened there?
I don't know. I had internet the whole time. It was just like, F you. You know?
But I gotta tell you, I'm not surprised, Wayne, that women played such an important role in something that men deserve. Or I'm sorry, men enjoy.
Oh yeah.
You know, I mean, there's a lot of things that we enjoy that are due specifically because it's a woman. Food, drinks now, you know, I mean, there's a lot. And it doesn't surprise me at all. At all.
And women make the world go around, and it's just.
But most women do.
Yeah,
I think it can be a misnomer when they call it alcohol a male-dominated industry. When there's documentation when the colonies were formed in the United States, where the original colonies, the 13 colonies, were writing back to England and asking to send better brewers or brew wives, or essentially they were asking to send better brew women over because England sent over poorly skilled brewers to the early colonies.
They sent them a bunch of men.
They just poorly skilled, yeah. So they
just drank everything they made.
They just weren't making good brew early in early colonies here, so they were begging to please send over the skilled brewers.
Now, Amanda, if you have all your pictures disappeared too, so I don't know if you want to.
Oh yeah, okay. Let's
get a minute.
Get up some. Well, I think we got past the ones.
Yeah, we posted the one you posted on there, so that's good. But this is amazing. I mean, like I said, it doesn't really surprise me that women were at the forefront of this because of the positions that they held in the household, and the importance that they played. My guess is that it probably went back a little further. Just knowing history as I do, women being as important they were in like hall life in early, medieval times, and even before that. I'm thinking it might have gone back further than.
I'm impressed by the sheer amount of women that in Mary Brizard's time and shortly thereafter, the late mid 1700s, 1800s, the amount of women that actually took on distilleries in one shape or form, they whether they owned it or inherited it or had something to do with it, they were a driving factor behind that business, that commercial distillery.
Yeah,
really impressive.
Well, they're put in situations, right? There are circumstances that you see throughout history where the husband owns the large distillery business and he's sustaining, or they're a very wealthy family, and he passes away and then leaves everything to his wife. And this is essentially the Mary Dowling story, right? And Catherine Carpenter also, which I think we're right around the time right now we're about to hit the time period where Catherine Carpenter would be discussing her. But these women had to take over the business, or they lost everything, or they would have to trust that someone else would be fair enough to buy, the business from them and run it properly or give them the proper share from the company. I think most of the time when these women inherited their businesses, they very commonly lost all of their creditors. Their distributors would no longer deal with them because they were women.
Right.
And sometimes they were not allowed to sell paperwork, or, they just were not people didn't believe that a woman could operate the business successfully,
Right.
or trust them to do so. So there are really good examples that we'll talk about of women who successfully did this, where we read about them today because they're an inspiration in a time where history thought, a woman can't do this. But when you're put into a circumstance, when any of us, it doesn't matter if you're a man or woman, when you're put in dire straits and you have to make do, you step up to the plate, I think.
And I think that, like you said earlier, how women, they were the brewers of the family, and if they had if their husband died for whatever reason, they were still brewers, so they would that's how they opened taverns. That's amazing information. That's something that I never would have even imagined.
Well,
so their husband's not drinking anymore, so now they can sell it and make some money, because they also don't have a man to support the household. So now they are in charge of supporting the household.
Yep. It's the next logical step. You've been making it. You might as well sell it now. So
I mean, we see this with the Mahalia Mullen story, with the Mary Dowling story. I believe Catherine Carpenter also took over when her husband passed away.
Mary Dowling, tell me that story.
She lived during Prohibition, and her husband actually were mutual partners, and he respected her business sense because she was just a wise woman. This is kind of documented. And when he passed, it was just the natural order of things that she would take over the business and not sell the business off. And some people in Kentucky at this time thought that this was, they say that she had a lot of hardship after his passing. She had lots of children, a big family to support, and several businesses that he owned. And one of also there's a cooperage that was part of it as well, like part of their businesses or enterprises. And multiple people offered to buy the businesses from her for nothing, insulting amounts, really, because she was a woman and they thought she didn't know any better. But she stuck to it, and her creditors all left and would not give her any credit. Her distributors were all dropped her accounts, and they would not distribute alcohol for her. And everybody said, you should just sell the businesses and take what money you can and support your family. But she had always ran these businesses, so she had an astute business sense about her. Yeah. And she kept on going and actually built these businesses back. One of her distilleries burned to the ground.
Wow.
Really, she had it was like Murphy's Law. Anything that could go wrong was going wrong for her. And
that's how my day went.
Well, I'm very sorry to hear that.
I had something interesting here. Smoked Tamale Allen. I don't even know one Allen. I don't know if that's who this is, but
yeah, I've seen that.
He made something interesting here. 1 becomes 2 equals people finding a partner. 2 becomes 3. They have a baby. From the 3rd comes the 4th, the next generation, according to AI. That does kind of make sense, though, doesn't
Thank you. That does make very good sense.
Thank you, Smoked Tamale Allen. Now I'm hungry because of your name. Thanks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I would do a tamale right now.
That's the only thing better than tacos is tamales.
Whoa.
I know. Sorry, Damon.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll get back on that later. Off topic. Come on. You mentioned Catherine Carpenter, Amanda.
Yeah.
She was accredited with something very special that I think most modern day moonshiners maybe don't know, but might appreciate.
Yeah, I think she has the first documented, right? So we're not saying now that she developed this technique, but when we look for the oldest record of how to make a sour mash, it's in Catherine Carpenter's handwriting.
That's right.
And on one side of the document, it's a handwritten piece of paper. It's very difficult to read in that old school handwriting. But one side is a sweet mash, and on the other side is a sour mash. And it is a technique that they were using in Kentucky and that she did use in her distillery in Kentucky. So yeah, she's known for the first documented sour mash recipe.
Wow.
Catherine Carpenter.
Awesome.
And yeah, they have the file. You can pull it up from Kentucky Historical Archives. and it's translated so that it's easier to read or interpret from the actual original document. It's kind of hard to read. You have to really kind of take your time. But it's a really interesting recipe, and it's different than most people understand sour mash techniques. And again, I'm just going to walk to the edge of the rabbit hole because sour mash is a whole topic we could talk about, and all the different ways that people sour mash or understand what sour mash is. But do you want to talk a little bit, maybe one of you guys, about why they were doing the practice of sour mashing at this time, or why it was important? Just really quick, because it's
go ahead, Wayne.
Yeah, so typically a sour mash is done to adjust the pH of your water, of your mash water, and that is to get it an optimal range for your yeast so that bad bacteria don't take over. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times they use good bacteria to achieve that, like lactobacillus. And there's many ways to do a sour mash. Tons of ways to do a sour mash.
So what was the way that, Amanda, do you know the way that she had written down how she did it?
So it's a drawn out recipe. I wish I had it in front of me. I could probably pull it up to read it. Should I do that? Do you guys want to hear that?
Sure.
Yeah, I know it's a very stepped process. So it takes several days of integrating these ingredients at different times. And she talks about like when you can stick your hand into the mash just far enough to cover your hand. And it's almost like she's trying to stick her hand in to see if it's scalding. So it's not clear, but she's talking about sticking your hand in just far enough till it doesn't burn. So that it's almost that if it's not scalding, then she knows that she could add the malt, and the malt is added in several stages. But the one recipe is a sweet mash, which is obviously the corn the first time you're cooking it. And then the second recipe uses some of the leftover wort or wash, the dunder essentially from the pot that has been distilled. And that's how you start the sour mash with a percentage of that. Yeah. Let me see if I can find. Can you show me Catherine Carpenter's recipe for a sour mash translated? I know it's not long, but
yeah, I was
interesting.
I got some old stuff at a estate sale, and it was a little metal tin, and inside it is a handwritten deed to some land in Sullivan County, Tennessee, and it's from the late 1800s. And I've got it pressed between glass so it doesn't get damaged, so you can read both sides of it. But it's really cool. The handwriting, I say, it's like Amanda said, it's hard to. You sit there and read that, and you're just like, "What? What did I just hear or read?" And go back, and you finally make sense of it. But it's the way they talked, the way they wrote things down is just so different.
Wow.
Yeah, for sure. So I can't find. That's not finding. There is the original document is. Let me see.
Is it available somewhere?
Yeah.
But yeah, sour mash is that's one of those topics we could discuss for a while.
Yeah, because everybody does it different. You know,
there's so many different things.
100% back set, 10% back set, 20% back set.
Oh yeah, and like a lot of the moonshiners, they'll put they're putting the back set back on on sugar, on spent grain, and going again. Where distilleries don't do that. They'll use back set, but they're not the spent grain's done. You one and done.
Right. I have the recipe here.
It's just what I do. I don't.
I like my use
recipe for distilling by sour mash. Put into the mash tub 6 bushels of very hot slop. Then put in 1 bushel of corn meal, ground pretty coarse. Stir well. Then sprinkle a little meal over the mash. Let it stand 5 days. That is 3 full days. Oh, it's so hard to read in this handwriting. The next day you mash, and the day you mash and the day you cool off. On the 5th day, put in 3 gallons of warm water. Then put in 1 gallon of rye meal and 1 gallon of malt. Work it well into the mash and stir for 3/4 of an hour. They were tough.
Yeah.
Stir in these old mashes with a wooden paddle, man. That's how you build muscle. But it's almost
That's
like
right.
okay.
I cheat.
So she came back after 5 days and added in the malt, right? So that's interesting. She was kind of, and I've seen some old time distillers do this where they're putting the hot water over the corn. Maybe it's not the same amount of hot water that they would be using to give it the gravity or the ratio of water to
Right.
grains, but it's just enough water that it's hydrating this corn.
Hydrating,
And-
keeping that corn and allowing some of those starches out.
Let me
It's a
ask you this
breakdown.
though. She said that you're adding slop to it. So is that like that's your spent grains?
Yeah, that's
Slop-
some dunder from the pot.
Yeah, it'd probably be your back set from the pot.
Back set.
Yes. Yeah.
And so it sounds like
it
those
goes
5
on.
days, those first 5 days, she's letting that set, and it's probably getting some lacto going on it as well, I would imagine.
Yeah. Or like so what can happen when essentially it's called souring the corn,
Yeah.
which Mark Rogers showed me, where we boiled water and
Yeah, I
put
love that
over the
story.
just enough to hydrate the corn and not actually make a mash. We didn't add yeast or anything. We just rehydrated the cracked corn and let it sit
Mhm.
there like a very thick, solid fermentation. And we came back in 5 days and a mold grew on top. We scraped
Mhm.
the mold off the top, and essentially it was like aspergillus or koji mold. I don't know exactly the type of mold. He did not know either, but that's what he called souring the corn. And the corn essentially was converted for us. And then we mashed
How long
it
was
on
that
top.
time period?
5 days.
That's interesting because I do something similar for my chickens. I
That's
ferment,
a lacto.
I ferment grains in water and leave it set for 5 days, and it ferments, and I throw it out to them because it builds probiotics and all kinds of
Probiotics,
stuff.
yeah. We do the same thing, and it's a
interesting.
lacto fermentation. You can make pickles like that. Sauerkraut's made that way. All these things are, all fermented. That's my new word. I'm gonna have to use that.
Fermentated. Get a shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, fermented.
After 5 days, she's adding in more grains and then water.
Mhm.
And then fill tub half full with lukewarm water, stir it well, and the page is folded. Break all the lumps fine, and then let stand 3 hours. Fill up with the tub with lukewarm water. Then here's the directions if it's warm or cool, right? Because depending on if it was summertime or wintertime, you would have used different temperatures of water.
Right.
For warm weather, 5 bushels of slop.
Mhm.
Instead of 6, let it stand an hour and a half instead of 3 hours. And for cold water instead of warm water. So it's an interesting stepped recipe, but this is, and it's she has beautiful handwriting, by the way. So I'm just being a little brat here complaining that, can we see it? Beautiful handwriting that Catherine Carpenter had. But this is the document. And if you just type in the Catherine Carpenter original recipe, there's a document on one page is the sour mash recipe. On the other page is the sweet mash recipe. So there is both.
Sweet.
Yeah. And it's interesting. It's another cool little
Now,
history.
do you know of anybody that's tried to recreate that?
I was just wondering the same thing.
I know that Tim Smith did, or he used the Jim Crow version.
Yeah,
so
I
Jim
saw
Crow Distillery is doing the similar Catherine Carpenter recipe. And then outside of that, the closest example that I've seen of someone actually doing this was Mark Rogers.
Yeah.
And when he does sour mash, he's taking the hot dunder boiling right out of the last run. And the only difference is that he's incorporating sugar, right? And he's making his version is a moonshine corn liquor instead of an all grain Kentucky whiskey. So that would be the only difference. But the same method is there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Very interesting.
Now, this picture here, is this...
This is Mary Dowling. Oh, so we didn't finish the Mary Dowling story. Mary Dowling didn't just rebuild that distillery after it burned down.
Yeah.
She rebuilt it just in time to be super successful, right in time for Prohibition. So the storm of Prohibition came, and all of the distilleries abuzz were like, oh no, what do we do? So they started selling off their surplus of alcohol and closing and turning off their stills and closing their doors. Mm-hmm. Mary Dowling began to sell her surplus of alcohol. They say that she had even sold surplus of it to the Van Winkle family. Van Winkle's family was one of the few distilleries that had a legal license to continue to stay open and make alcohol. Yeah, I love this. It's so interesting. It's an interesting history of whiskey and Prohibition in Kentucky.
And in the middle of all this, she packs up and goes to Mexico. Take
Yes.
her
So
distillery all the way. Just dive in.
yeah.
Well,
They were
prohibition.
accusing her of bootlegging her surplus of alcohol, and the federal government started to come after her and try to investigate where the alcohol she was selling was actually going, and whether or not she sold it all legally or did not sell it all legally. I don't know. But she was definitely accused of bootlegging or selling some alcohol under the table illicitly in the time leading up to Prohibition. So what it looked like for Prohibition was the government was like, well, you can sell us your alcohol and we'll take it off your hands. We'll tell you what we want to pay for it and you
Of
can
course
close
they
your
will.
doors. Right. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sure some people did that and some other people were like, screw you, we're going to sell this to some speakeasies. And whether she did or not, I don't know, but she was getting harassed. So she, and I think she didn't want to close down her businesses.
Right.
So she
Of
actually
course
took
not.
on the Beam family and hired them to help her move from Kentucky, her entire operation right across the border into Juarez, Mexico. And that's what that photograph was.
Yeah.
Right here.
All the barrels out there. And
This is a photo of her distillery in Juarez, Mexico. And she became very successful in Juarez, Mexico. And
Awesome.
it is said that a great amount of Mexican whiskey made its way over the border into America during Prohibition, where she kept supplying her customers in America through the dry period of Prohibition.
yeah,
It is even said that Pappy Van Winkle himself complained about the market of Mexican whiskey encroaching on his sales. So it's pretty interesting. I had someone comment on my story and say I had a whiskey expert tell me that the Dowling whiskey was one of the worst whiskeys he'd ever tasted. And I said, that's interesting that he tastes whiskey that she made, because her distillery then, it was very successful. It did close shortly after Prohibition sometime. I think that there was a lot of unrest in Mexico and it created a climate which was very difficult to operate a business successfully in. So she did operate successfully through Prohibition, which is another like totally commendable thing. Like go
Awesome.
Mary Dowling. She's known as the mother of bourbon, and rightly so, because when the federal government and the temperance movement tried to erase bourbon off the map, she said absolutely not, and she made it work. Can you imagine what it would have taken to take your family, your home, and a business and the distillation equipment as much as she had, and move it to Juarez, Mexico? At that time, I mean, train would have been the best way to travel, but a train ride at that time from where she was moving would have taken several days. Just one trip, several days.
So she took barrels of whiskey with her as well?
I know that she moved her operation, the equipment, and then there is a picture of her standing outside the distillery. That one.
Okay.
So that's an actual photo of her standing outside of her distillery in 1927. Super cute. That's a really famous image of her. I don't know if she sold off all of her surplus barrels or not. I know that she was selling them off. I know that that's caused her issues in the United States, and it became one of the reasons that she left the United States.
Yeah, that picture you had up with the barrels, just the sheer number of barrels that was out there, just mind blowing. That's Look at that. I mean, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, how much whiskey.
Yeah, she was a titan and in the bourbon industry, and
wow,
during Prohibition, when everybody else, and it's sad. Some distilleries were able to stay open, but only a small handful. I believe that there were 7. Don't quote me on that, but do you know how many medicinal licenses were given out? I believe it was something like 7
medicinal licenses.
Yeah, that's
maybe 9 at the most. Chat knows it's 7 to 9, I think. And then all the other distilleries at that time were forced to close their doors, but not Mary Dowling. She made it work.
That's awesome. During Prohibition.
Yeah.
Wow. And then now that we're in the Prohibition range, we're starting to get into some like Mahala, she was pre-Prohibition, was she not, Amanda?
Correct. Yeah. So Mahalia Mullins is worth mentioning. She's one of my favorite icons of a woman distiller.
You did an episode on her, right?
I did. Yeah. So that's one of the beautiful things about the Moonshiner show is sometimes they allow me to explore ideas that I have, and it really allows me to walk in the footsteps or go to the places and kind of recreate a spirit. And this was inspired by the legend. Her story may be romanticized, which I always have to say, because lots of tall tales and Appalachian legends at the time were
Yep.
romanticized. However, there is documentation that there was wanted posters and that there are family members alive who speak of who were related to the police officers who tried to apprehend her. Mahalia Mullins, or Haley, they called her,
Mm-hmm.
was known as Big Haley because of her health conditions. She had elephantitis, which caused her to become kind of unable to leave her home, especially where she was located in an isolated area on Newman's Ridge in eastern Tennessee in Vardy County.
Yep.
It was a steep ridge, and she had a cabin there. But
You've
on
been there, right?
Yeah, so the cabin is now located just beneath its original location. They've dismantled the whole cabin and rebuilt it at an easily accessible location, and it's managed by the Vardy County Historical Society. It's a museum to her life. And she's not just a female moonshiner, but she's like an icon in Appalachia in general.
Oh yeah, she's a legend. Yeah.
She lived through some rough times, and her story is one of resilience, of having to do what you have to do in tough times. And what I found really interesting was that her family, for the time, had a 2-story cabin in the 1800s in that part of rural Appalachia. They had nice furniture, and in some photographs, she's well dressed. So, stories from family members say that she lived comfortably, essentially, which was not what I was expecting to learn when I went there.
Right.
And it's heavily debated. I didn't realize once I started researching her and talking about her story, I wanted to share the story of a female distiller, and especially a moonshiner, because I was. But there is the Mullins and the Collins families. Her husband is a Collins. She is a Mullins. They married. And there is stories that he was distilling and that she never distilled. And there's also stories that her children were distilling. Now, it makes sense to me that he was distilling, and when he passed away, she started to distill. And then when she got old enough and sick enough, her kids took over and started to take care of her. But distilling had been done in that cabin on Newman's Ridge because it was stable way for them to make money, right? So I'm not saying that all of the stories about her were true, but they are inspirational.
Yeah, they are.
And people today still talk about her brandy. It was interesting. It's another interesting part of moonshine history because brandy was moonshine. Some people think moonshine is just corn liquor, but you would have just used whatever ingredients you had. Any
illicit alcohol. Yeah.
Yeah. If you were isolated,
that we had in hand. Yeah.
You used whatever you could. And she had access to fruit trees, so she made brandy. Her brandy became very well known. So I can say with a certain degree of certainty that alcohol has been made in that home on Newman's Ridge, had been made for quite some time. It caused attention from the authorities. People went there to try to stop the distilling on Newman's Ridge, and ballads and songs, as well as wanted posters were made with her name, telling her story. That's not to take credit from her husband or her rest of her family and say that they also were not distilling or had not distilled. But just the fact that today she's still talked about and known in that area, and she's part of Appalachian folklore, which I love.
Very interesting.
So they have the ballad of Mahala Mullins. Heard that song?
I have not.
Yeah, I have. So yeah, that's one of the songs. She was known as catchable, but not fetchable, because they could not get her from her cabin. She would not be able to walk down. She could not ride on a horse. And quite realistically, to bring a buggy with horses to the top of that ridge at that time was not really feasible.
Right.
So they could not bring her down to court to prosecute her. So the legend is that she kept on distilling and just doing her thing because they couldn't really do anything about it.
Wow. Rumor has it that when she passed away, they actually had to partially disassemble part of her cabin to remove her body.
Yeah. I did ask about that when I got there, and some people said it was the sidewall, and other people said that they actually dismantled the chimney and put the chimney back in the building. And I got to interview one of the oldest living relatives of the family members of Mahalia Mullins. R.J. Mullins. He is a wonderful person, and his interview really impacted me. They did not show that on the Moonshiner show. A lot of it, what we do, so much of what we do is edited out for time, unfortunately, and his interview didn't make the cut. But he gave us a really realistic perspective of what life would have been like in the hardships that he lived through shortly after the Great Depression in rural Appalachia, in that cabin on Newman's Ridge. The man told me, he described when they woke up in the morning, some mornings in the winter, there would be snow on their beds because the chinking in the cabin was not great. And they used newspaper to insulate all of the inside of the cabins. He talked about the fruit grown on the ridge, the spring where they would have accessed water from. His family members, he did not remember or was not alive when she was, but his father and uncles were. Yeah. And they talked about the brandy that she would have made. And after all the interview, he goes, you know what, you never asked me. And I said, what? He goes, you never asked me about her peach brandy. And I didn't. But she was also persecuted because she was Melungeon. Mm-hmm. And Melungeon, like Native Americans, I believe Melungeon is a mix of partially Cherokee, but of other things, Portuguese, Cherokee blood. And it's a mixture of different nationalities or people from different regions that are a darker complexion, and they were discriminated against and treated similar to Native Americans at the time. They were displaced and made to move, and she eventually settled in that cabin on Newman's Ridge. But Melungeons, even after her lifetime, and I don't know when this stopped or if it ever really did stop, but they were persecuted and known for being wild people who were alcoholics and kind of like rowdy and bad people. And really, I think it's unfortunate. It's just a stereotype of the time that you're taking a family of distillers and saying they're just a lively Appalachian family. I'm not to say that they weren't drinking and they didn't have some rowdy moments, but it is unfortunate to hear how some Melungeon people that are alive today are ashamed of their culture. Roots. They do not drink because they don't want to be portrayed as an alcoholic, because that was a stereotype that was put onto their people.
It's a lot of stigma with my people, Cherokee people as well, about alcohol. Yeah.
That made me sad to hear that portion, but it is part of the history. So I'm always grateful to get to learn that kind of stuff. Yeah, and she people think that she was alive during Prohibition, but she was not. She passed away in the 1890s. So Prohibition would have come after her. But during Prohibition, there was a lot of amazing stories of female bootleggers, right? The term bootlegging, who knows where bootlegging came from? The whole term.
I do not.
You putting
liquor in your boot.
To hide liquor in your boot. And the best bootleggers were women at the time, because people didn't suspect a woman of being uncouth enough to smuggle or sell alcohol, and certainly not to be uncouth enough to make alcohol. So a cop also couldn't search a woman if
I mean, you're not going to walk up and say, I need to look under your dress. I need to check.
Yeah, so they were smuggling it in their boots. That's the shape of that flask. That rounded flask would fit perfectly in a boot. And they would hide it in their skirts, and they would transport it that way. And women most commonly could not be searched or would never be suspected. They were the most unsuspecting perpetrators of the time. So they made perfect bootleggers.
Wow.
There was a lady that we talked about, Gertrude Lithgow.
Cleo, right?
Cleo was her nickname. Yeah. They said because she looked like Cleopatra. That's why they.
I didn't know that's where that came from. That's interesting.
Gertrude.
Yeah. She was known for bootlegging, rum running.
Really?
Around let's see. This picture of her was in 1925. I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's a picture of her.
Oh yeah.
She was a good dresser. I like her style.
Snazzy, yeah.
I love that 1920s.
Oh yeah.
Flapper kind of style. She was
exactly.
classy, very classy.
About Janet Harbinson.
I'm not familiar with that.
Janet Harbinson. I've not heard of her. Please.
She's the one that kept the Macallan distillery
Oh,
going.
Interesting.
yeah. There's a
Scotch whiskey. Scotch.
She was a
yeah.
Scot.
Yeah. Legacy of Macallan's Janet Harbinson. Little Scotch. Yeah, I didn't read too much on her, just the highlights here, but yeah, 1900. She played a big deal on keeping that alive.
See, that's the thing. There's so many women had a role in either, whether it be on one side or the other of the fence, legal or illegal, and on both sides in a huge way. Not just, make a little stuff here and there. No, these women were big and bold and doing massive undertakings, making a lot of whiskey.
Yeah, this Janet Harbinson, she preserved the Macallan's legacy and created the 1926 Valerio Adami, the world's most valuable whiskey.
Oh, I'd not heard of this.
So
interesting.
Yeah, that's most valuable whiskey.
Wow.
I'll dream about tasting it, I guess.
I mean, Macallan is good stuff. I just can't afford it.
Yeah, it's very
Scotch.
good.
It's
very
Scotch.
Good. I think these stories are Scotch. Yeah, it has a nice smokiness. Early on, before I even drank regular whiskey or bourbon, I had a coworker who introduced me to Scotch, and I did enjoy partaking in that when I was younger.
Helen Cumming was she had to do with the Scotch in
the Cardo distillery.
Yeah, Cardo distillery. Yes,
Helen Elizabeth Cumming
inherited it from her husband when he passed, and then she passed the legacy on to the family.
Johnny Walker. She laid the foundation for Johnny Walker. Yeah.
Okay.
So as we come into more current times, Amanda, do you have any names that pop into your head for like modern day women?
Yeah. I think it's an important part of history to talk about, because she actually became a part of the history of women in distilling. Would be Mary Ann Eves. So to give you context,
did not just say Mary Ann Eves.
Yeah.
That was my one that I was going to talk about.
Oh man, sorry. Well, you can still talk about her.
From me.
Yeah,
but to give context of why she became so important to the female distilling industry is because until 1974, it was written in a law in Kentucky that it was against the law for a woman to work in a distillery, that they could only work in the tasting room or as a cashier. So a woman could not be a distiller. And this is from Prohibition. So we're talking before Prohibition. You see Mary Dowling and then Catherine Carpenter and other women who are owning and operating distilleries. Prohibition is where we see all of the American distilleries closed down. And then after Prohibition is where Kentucky really became a driving force, because most of the operational distilleries that were left through Prohibition operating for medicinal purposes were in Kentucky. So when alcohol production opened back up again, the central hub became Kentucky at that time. So Kentucky sort of became an all boys club, and they wrote laws in place to forbid a woman from working in the distilling industry.
So she became the first master distiller in Kentucky after Prohibition.
That's right.
And the very first one. And she did.
And when was this, Damon? Tell us. This is what's so crazy about her story. Is this was actually.
She was 28, I think, at the time. She wasn't even a distiller. She was she went to college. She was like a chemist or something like that, right? She had no idea. She was a scientist. She has a PhD in science.
I also wrote down Alex Castle. So they both went to school for chemical engineering, and one of the common jobs you can have as a chemical engineer or a scientist is you can do fermentation and become a distiller and make whiskey. But do you know exactly what year she became? When did she become the first female?
I have my notes here. I don't even know.
It's very recent. That's what's so
it's very recent. Actually,
fascinating about her story.
She was a big movement on Castle and Key.
Yeah, she opened Castle and
yeah.
Key. So
Oh, okay.
Distillery.
her, I actually just recently watched a really good interview with her. But she was being
Was it on
apprenticed
Neat?
to become the master distiller at Brown Forman.
Yep.
And they asked her, "Do you want to become a master distiller?" And she was under the apprenticeship, but that type of apprenticeship could go on forever. And she was studying and studying and doing all the things that they expected her to do to eventually inherit the title of master distiller. And anywhere else in the country, she could have gone and run a distillery. And I think she has an exceptional palate, and she's really, really good at identifying and blending and all that. She became a master blender, and the people from Castle and Key reached out to her and asked her if she wanted to come onto that project, and that's where the controversy really began.
Yeah, she became a master distiller at Woodford
Reserve.
There you go. In 2014, at the age of 28.
Wow.
Did Woodford Reserve give her the title master distiller though?
No,
I don't think they did. So this is where the controversy lies.
I'm sorry, master taster. She was a master taster at Woodward.
Well, I think women typically have a better palate and nose than
and it was
men.
It was in 2015 that she was actually named master distiller at Castle and Key.
And this part of her story is so interesting to me. She decided to go with the Castle and Key project. It was a beautiful old castle that they were restoring. I mean, I wouldn't blame her, because I would love to build. Could you want to build a distillery in this castle? Like, yes, please.
I watched a video on that where they went in there, and some parts there was no ceilings. There was waist high trash in the place.
Right.
And it was just like completely.
She had the vision. She definitely had the vision. Yeah. And I'm sure what she did was very scary. But she came onto the Castle and Key project, and that really ruffled feathers when she did that, because she was set to essentially stay at Brown Forman. So when she went on to try to do something where she could grow and kind of maybe do more of practice the craft in the way that she wanted to do it, and I think that's ultimately why she did that. They were very upset with her, and they were very upset with the owners of Castle and Key, and the Kentucky Distillers Guild contacted them and said, well, what are you going to do now? Because you can't call her a master distiller, because, I mean, she's a woman, right? So you can't give her that title. So what are you going to call her? And she very humbly, I don't think, titled herself master distiller. And actually, Fred Minnick was in front of the group of master distillers in Kentucky at a regular meeting. And he stood up and said, I have an announcement to make. And he declared we have a new master distiller in Kentucky, and her name is Marianne Eves. And everybody was kind of like, oh shit. Like, so awesome. I think what she did was probably scary. If I were to try to put myself in her shoes, I don't know, that I'm sure it was really scary for her and just ballsy. And she took the title, and she was already doing the job. It was just the fact that in Kentucky, there hadn't been a master distiller, and it just was like this weird taboo thing that was a female. Since she has done that, there are other female master distillers in Kentucky, so she definitely opened a door and normalized it, and now many more female distillers. One who I greatly admire, her name is Alex Castle. She is another really awesome female master distiller. She's a science nerd. She has been involved in a lot of different distilleries, but kind of just worked her way from the ground up, and is now the master distiller at Augusta. I don't want to say it. I have family that's Augusta, so I always want to say it wrong. Yeah. But it's like Augusta Distilling in Kentucky, and that's where she's at right now. But she's another amazing woman that I love to shout out the modern day women who are killing it.
Yeah, the tides are turning a little bit more, going back to, I mean, women never left distilling, but now it's more common. Nowadays women are actually getting recognition, and I think that's awesome. There's so many women, and we could sit here and talk all night long. We couldn't cover just scratch the surface of the women that is in this day and age that is involved in distillation.
Now, Amanda, have you gotten to meet any of these, Marianne or Alex?
No, I'm just fangirling over here. There's not a lot of female moonshiners. There's really not. And so I have met one amazing female distiller that I have met is Tracy Franklin. I met her at Mount Vernon, and Steve Bashore, who was running Mount Vernon at the time, he was the master distiller there. He brought us in, and he did it so thoughtfully. He set it up to have certain people to be there to work together at certain times so that you would be able to meet one another. And he had invited her there at the same time that I was there. And she came in, and I'll never forget meeting this girl. Not only is she like a light that lights up any room that she's in, but I was like, so I asked everybody, I was like, I wanted to know who everybody was and what they did, because everyone there was so impressive the whole time I was there. But she came in one day, just so happy and big smile, and I was like, I love this girl's energy. Like, I really admire this girl. I didn't know anything about her. I introduced myself. I was like, so what do you do? And she's like, oh, I'm an educational distiller. And I was like, what? Me too. Like, I thought I was so excited when I met this girl. I was like, I love
That's
you.
awesome.
I just love you already. So she has her own label, Edmund's Honor, and oh gosh, I don't know the man's name. His name was Edmund, but historically he was an African-American man who cultivated Madagascar vanilla beans, I believe. So she names the bottle of her story in Edmund's honor. And this is a Madagascar vanilla infused whiskey that she makes. And then she does tons of educational distilling where she's traveling all over and she's doing seminars, and she's in Women in Bourbon, and she's in so there, anyone who's watching that are female distillers, there's things that you can join to women in the industry helping other women. There's the Women in Bourbon is a big one, and they meet multiple times throughout the year in different places. They have a big symposium that they do once a year in Kentucky, which I am really trying to get to, because I just think it would be just a great experience to be able to meet all these women that I read about, and I watch interviews with them, and I try to learn from them. But she does, and there's the Spirited Coalition, I believe is what it's called. My friend Michaela Stinson is another female distiller who I greatly admire. She is just an amazing human being. Again, I just love her to death. But she just got into the Spirited Coalition and sent me a message and said, hey, this is something I really think that you might benefit from, and I wanted to invite you. She's just such a sweet person and so thoughtful. So yeah, there's a lot of Michaela is one girl that I really know. I see Mama B is in the chat. There's a female moonshiner right there. So who is saying, that it's known as a male dominated field, but there are plenty of women dominating it.
Absolutely.
I see more and more women.
I looked up that Edmund Albius, in honor of Edmund.
Oh, perfect. Yeah,
he was off the coast of Madagascar on a small island known as Bourbon, known today as Reunion. Began the extraordinary tale of Edmund Albius as he's untrained. At the age of 12 years old, he began manually pollinating vanilla beans.
So that's where the Bourbon Madagascar bean name comes from. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Wow. Jen is making vanilla. She has bourbon Madagascar beans, and she has Tahitian beans as well.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's crazy the difference from one to the other.
You see, see, I've never had them next to each other to be able to tell.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's as interesting as spirits are. I mean, and technically it is a spirit, it's alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so they contrast so much, even though they have some similarities, the smell and the taste, but there's other smells and tastes that are different and that separate them. And I find that really interesting, that that slight difference in the bean.
You'll have to send a sister some samples to
differentiate. Yeah, I'm sure Jen will be hooking you up.
Now, Wayne, you had a modern distillery that you wanted to talk about, right?
Oh, actually, I do. One of the modern distillers, the women in distilling that I think a lot of us find really interesting and joyful to watch. I mean, some of the things that she's come up with and done, and that is our co-host tonight, Miss Amanda Bryant.
Amanda Bryant.
Stop. No. Who is this? No. That's an easy one.
So now we get to ask you questions, Amanda Bryant.
Yeah, that's right. Hot seat.
Tell us about your journey in distillation as a woman in the industry.
Okay. Okay. That's a great question. I think I was very supported in my journey in learning distilling by my close group of male friends.
Mm-hmm.
So if it weren't for all the guys who really supported me, gave me the literature to read, gave me a place to put a still, um, gave me the company in the ear, lent me an ear, and said, "Tell us what you learned today, Professor." That was my guys.
Yeah.
But they really encouraged me to go and do the master distiller competition. If I hadn't been harassed by those guys, I would not be where I am today. So if it weren't
Well,
for,
good for them and you.
yeah, and for me, there is not a lot of female moonshiners. There is more women in the legal distilling industry than there is in the illegal distilling industry, for whatever
Yeah.
reason that is.
Yeah.
There's probably just less moonshiners in general anymore. But
I think
but I think-
women probably have more sense.
Yeah,
Let's
but
go,
yeah.
let's go legal instead.
but people, for the women to other women to see people, people like you and other women in moonshining and women distilling, it's motivation for them to go ahead and make that move to get involved.
Mhm.
So what drove you to start distillation? What drew you into distilling?
So I saw my friend Neil put this little Betty Crocker still on the counter one day, and I was super surprised. I didn't expect him to do it. And I had a million questions, and I was like, "Please tell me everything." And he's like, "Calm down, Amanda. We just saw this on Facebook. Like, we're just trying this out." And then I think I have the book right here. One of my friends who were there that day, Big Bill, he it was just right here. What did I do with it? Oh wait, I know where it is. I have the actual book he gave me. It was my first ever book about distilling. He came to my house and surprised me. And 2 days later, he said, "I saw how interested you were when we pulled out that still." And I can't get to the drawers. But he brought me this book, Alaskan Bootlegger's Bible, which is literally right here. I just can't get to it right now.
Yeah.
And he signed the inside copy, like, love Bill 10-4, and he gave it to me. And I didn't have a computer or a cell phone, so books was my window to the world. I was a nerdy reader and a hermit, and I loved it. Was one of the kindest and the most important gifts that anyone ever gave me. But that book sparked basically the whirlwind of my hyperfixation on distillation. It was an excellent book. I tell a lot of people that if they ask, like, where do I start? I want to learn how to distill. I'm like, go get Alaskan Bootlegger's Bible, because it gives a really good understanding to somebody who doesn't know anything at all. It's easy to read. It's well written. And the whole second half of the book is a whole bunch of recipes. So it gives you really and it tells you how to make different stills out of all different equipment. It explains distillation on a really easy level that a beginner can grasp. And then it gives you just enough information to be dangerous with it. And that's how I began. After that, I got my hands on every piece of literature I could get my hands on. And
that's awesome.
It was a whirlwind from there.
So now I remember your first episode of Master Distiller. Because that was when I used to watch it, as a fanboy all the time, and I was like, ooh. And this cute little redhead pops on there, and I'm like, oh, there's no way they're gonna let her through on this. But you won.
Yeah,
that
was a scary time. Like? I was terrified. I underestimated my own skills greatly. Anyone who has been on that show will tell you how scary it is as a regular person. Because we're not actors, we're just regular people. Right. And some of us are shy. I was very shy. I had never had photographs taken or really ever been on camera before. So I don't know what I was thinking. And honestly, I know what I was thinking. I was thinking that it was such an incredible opportunity. If I had passed that up, I would regret it later. So despite the immense amount of anxiety and fear that I had going forward with it, once they called me back, I had to proceed. It was an opportunity that essentially changed my life. The real prize is the group of people that you get to meet when you're there, the other distillers and all the other people competing. It opens a door to give you a community of distilling when most of the time we're distilling at home in a garage and I had no internet access, so I wasn't in forums. I didn't have social media or Facebook. And this was really truly the first time that I met other people that distilled. So for me, that was also, it was incredible, but intimidating. And I was really scared that, I was going to sound stupid on camera or make a mistake
Right.
and just look really dumb. And eventually I realized that I had a solid, I had solid faith in my own skills in distilling, and I knew that I knew what I was doing. And they gave me all the tools. They set it all up for me, and they even cleaned it up for me when I was done. So like I could come in and strain a mash, and they would clean the barrel for me. And I felt kind of bad about that, but they made it very easy for me to do what I did. And I realized, like, I do this well.
Mhm.
All I have to do is come on and do it well and not make any grievous mistakes. So I just don't do anything that I wouldn't normally do at home. So I just did what I did. And that experience did tell me to have lots of faith in my own skills, which before, for a lot of us, if you think your friends are always tasting your liquor, that they're just telling you,
Right.
they're being nice to you.
Right.
And constructive criticism is something that's very valuable to us in this industry. It helps us to grow and get better and make better products. But that's the first time you're really receiving a judgment and constructive criticism. So it's very nerve-wracking.
Yep. Outside
Very
of your friend bubble. Yeah.
It's terrifying. It's just utterly terrifying.
Now, how long after you succeeded at Master Distiller did they call you to come onto the main show?
Not long. I want to say once they edited my episode, probably they called me within a couple months, just maybe 2 months, and they said, "Hey, do you want to be on Moonshiners? Would you come on and film an episode or two of Moonshiners?" And after my experience on Master Distiller, I was like, "No way! Like, there's no way that I could go and put myself through that again." It was just so intense to be on camera, and my episode didn't even air yet, so I didn't know if I was gonna how it's gonna look, if I was gonna sound intelligent, or if I was just gonna totally sound as scared as I felt on the inside. But they lured the carrot in front of me, and they were like, "What?
Yeah.
If you could work with anyone on this show, who would you work with?" So I put some serious thought into that, and I thought, if this is a learning experience for me, because that's what distilling ultimately has always been for me, is how I educate myself. That's why it's so special to me, because for a long period of my life, I could not continue my own education, and I really was hard on myself for that. So when I discovered distilling, it became my window to educate myself to the world, and it really gave me a sense of fulfillment that I was greatly lacking. And I needed that in my life, and it just fulfilled me, and it has ever since. But I thought, who could I learn from? And Mark Rogers has always been someone that I admired because of his traditional skills, his old ways of doing things.
Very old school backwoods kind of guy.
Yeah. Like, it's like you open a history book and he's on the first page and he hasn't left. I mean, it was an amazing experience. So I said, if I could work with Mark Rogers, I'd love to learn wood burning fire distillation, because that was something that I had never practiced, and I always wanted to learn.
I remember those episodes too.
Yeah, I loved that show then. Yeah, I really did. Those yeah. I've never done wood fired though. That's something I want to do.
And Amanda, I think it's that attitude and how you handled things, and you went forward through Master Distiller and then onto Moonshiners. It's an inspiration for girls and for women. Out there.
It can be scary sometimes, and usually if something really scares the crap out of you, then you should do it, because the things that are meant for you are not going to come super easy. You got to do the thing that scares you, or else you're never going to grow, and you're never going to progress, and you're never going to get to where you're supposed to be. And it's not always easy, but it's almost always definitely worth it.
Well, I appreciate you, Amanda, and
very much.
I remember watching you before we were friends. I remember watching you on the TV screens.
Oh gosh.
And it's been awesome knowing you. I'm going to do a quick cold close here right now for the podcast, but we are going to keep talking about women in distillation. Hang out with us. This is just our cold close area, but we're going to keep going.
for Damon,
right.
because whatever that means.
Yeah, I gotta edit.
I don't understand this.
I do editing and all the stuff backstage, so
I get it.
yeah.
So
But we're going forward now. What else do we have?
Well, there's a lot. Amanda, you have any other women, modern women that you look up to or you want to talk about?
Let me see. So I know that there is the Master Distiller at Michter's. Michter's is one of my favorite whiskeys that I buy right now, and they have a woman there. So this is the thing. I don't know a whole lot about the women in the legal distilling industry. I know some that I've met, but this is a world that I've only just gotten into, and the legal aspect of it, and it's something that I'm trying to educate myself in more. So, but there's a lot of awesome female distillers that. So, Dr. Nicole Schreiner is a really awesome female master distiller. She's actually a professor at Michigan State University and a doctor of, let me just, before I get her degree wrong, because that would be really embarrassing. She's an insanely intelligent female distiller, and she's teaching the brewing and fermentation and distillation program for Michigan State. Michigan State was one of the first universities in the United States to develop a program for distillation and fermentation. So she studied under the doctor who created the program. She came out of that program and now I'm pretty sure she's running that program now, but she is a really awesome chick. I talked about Alex Castle. She's just super cool. Michaela Stinson. She was on Master Distiller twice,
yeah,
and I rooted so hard for her. Like, I was like, yes, she's back. Like, I love this girl. I'm so happy they brought her back. And she was like me, which is why I think I liked her so much, because she was shy on her first episode, and I was also like really painfully shy when I did that. And then on her next episode, she was like, oh, I'm over this now. And I was just like, yes, like I love to see her just transition from being the shy person that I felt like I was. And then she came back for this like tournament episode, and she was just like killing it in all of her portions. I've never
gotten to meet her. I'd love to meet her someday.
She's really sweet. And Kelly Tonelli actually won that tournament, I believe, right? Kelly Tonelli won that redemption tournament. So she's anher female.
And she's working at she's working in a distillery right now, correct? What's
Whiskey Thief?
Whiskey Thief, yeah, Whiskey Thief.
I think that's where she's at. Lisa Roper Wicker was the master distiller of Widow Jane. I think she is the master distiller of Whiskey Thief right now. Can you guys comment on that?
I don't even know.
I think she's at Whiskey Thief.
Lisa Roper. I'm Googling right now.
Yeah, she's the director of distilling at Whiskey Thief Distilling Company. Okay. She's another really impressive woman in the distilling industry.
Oh yeah.
And I met like other women in the industry that aren't just distillers. Some of them are authors that are writing about articles and history of distilling, which I thought was really impressive.
June 2nd, 2025, Lisa Roper Wicker joins Whiskey Thief Distilling.
And she used to run Widow Jane, which is in New York, not too far from me. And if you guys know who Lorna Dune Conrad is, Lorna was on the whiskey world competition episode of Master Distiller. So while I was filming, I got to film with Nicole, not film with them, but we were all staying in the hotel at the same time. So they were filming all our episodes all at the same time. And there was probably 12 of us, but I got to film with the guys who did the whiskey competition. That's how I met Chris Yahara. And Lorna was in his competition, and she came from they make that Outrage whiskey. They're out of Tennessee.
Outrage.
I love oats. Oats are amazing. I've yet to do an all oat
Corsair, which is
Derek Bell. They did a lot of alternative grain stuff. Derek Bell did, that's
he
where
wrote the book.
That's where I got the idea for to experiment and do my chocolate rye whiskey that I make.
That's another amazing book. If anybody wants to, it's called Alt Grains by the distiller Corsair, where it's all describing integrating alternate grains. So not your standard, corn, rye, barley, wheat, into a mash bill. And these alternate grains have a wonderful array of different flavors and complexities that can lend to your whiskey a little bit. So I love that.
They're also known for their whiskeys that they take the standard malt grains like we use of barley and rye and wheat, but they toast those to different levels to achieve a flavor profile. And so that's how we get chocolate malt. We toast whatever type of malt you're doing to that level that you're after.
Chocolatey flavor.
It's the thing that beer brewers do and have done forever. I mean, that's how you get your stout beers and your porters and all those types of beers. That what's different, makes them different from one from another is the type of malts that are used, and they did that with whiskey, and it's just, I always found that really interesting. That's where my bridge in distillation came from, brewing to distillation, and so that was like one of the pickup points for me was Derek Bell, and his methods of using alternate grains.
There's a lot of female master blenders in the industry that are just incredibly talented, because I think women have a more sensitive nose and palate, and scientifically we have more receptors, just like we're born with so many more receptors to be able to smell and taste different things that men are not. So there's a lot of really talented female blenders and master blenders. Nancy Fraley is one that I commonly hear over and over again, and she occasionally does blending classes at different places, and that's something that I would really love to get into one of her classes, because blending is something that, that is a whole different art form and craft of itself.
I don't think you could hear a blending conversation without her name coming up.
Yeah, well, if we talk about blending, what about, have you Joyce Spence?
She was the first female master blender.
Yeah.
She was the first one?
Yeah, Jamaican chemist. Yeah.
Very cool.
Wow.
First female.
Very cool.
Yeah. All these women in the industry,
master blender.
Aside from me, they are all scientists. I have to say, I tip my hat. They all went to school for some crazy. They're all scientists. I would have become a scientist if I could have, but it wasn't in the cards for me.
I got to tell you, Amanda, I don't think I'm alone in saying this, but for a lot of us out here, you are the scientist that we all look to.
Oh yeah.
You and Santa, of course. When we need that scientific stuff.
I watched his podcast. I don't watch them when they're live, because again, to get on a podcast for me is like a whole day process, and I get really bad anxiety every time I do preparing for it. And you guys probably see me. I'm all bright red. My blood pressure is going through the roof. I go crazy. But I watch his podcast, and Bad Santa is, I greatly admire his topics. He's very intelligent.
Yeah, he's an intelligent man.
He's one of the people that I watch. I'm like, damn, this guy knows his shit.
We love to have you on the show, and you've been on several episodes. She's basically a co-host. Love to have you on, and it's always a pleasure. We talk about so many great things, and you're knowledgeable. You really know a lot.
Yeah, and I think the great thing about initially when Wayne approached me with the idea of this show, we didn't really know what direction it was going to go. But we wanted it to be a place to sit and talk about history, facts, and what we know and what we can learn.
Right.
Whether it be, the 14 topics or the distillation topics.
Mm-hmm.
And I think by you basically become an integral part of the show so far, we have created this knowledge base of people out there now that want to learn more, not just about, how do I go out and make some liquor out in the shed? They want to know why.
Yeah, the proof is out there. That's a whole part of the name of it, right? It's when you ask the question why, you got to go find the proof. It's out there somewhere.
Right.
And I think you've been a huge step in getting people to ask that question, why? as a woman distiller that has so many things on your horizon coming up, I think knowing you and being able to talk to you would provide anybody with any kind any knowledge that they need to go further in this industry.
Yeah, I try to help anyone who has a genuine need to understand. Like, I sympathize with that, and I answer as many questions as I can. I try to divert people to my emails and to my classes, because that's really the best way that I can make the best use of my time and sharing my knowledge with people. Is if you come to my class and you have ongoing consulting from me forever, you can email me and be like, hey, Amanda, I got this question about this grain or this mash bill or whatever, anytime. Like, and I'm answering my students, like a lot of them. I have lots of them at this point. But I try to make the best. And I still, a young man emailed me a couple weeks ago, just totally random. He messaged me on Facebook and was like, hey, I'd love to ask you some advice about the distilling industry. And I was like, hey, it was late. I was like, you know what? Here's my email. Shoot me your questions. And I started just talking to this young man, and he's actually like a distilling operator at a huge distillery in Kentucky. And I wasn't expecting that. I just was trying to give a young person in the distilling industry some guidance that I wish, somebody had given me. And it turns out, like, I was going through my roster for the next class, and I was getting the names down, and I see his name on there, and I was like, no way. I emailed him back. I'm like, did you sign up for my class? And he's like, oh yeah, I figured, I needed a vacation. But I was like, see, like, that was just in my mind. I'm like, this is just a random person. Sometimes people just want attention or whatever. But I'm like, this kid asked for guidance, so I want to try to help him. And so I'm looking forward to actually meeting him. And we get a very interesting group of people in the classes. We get brewers, vintners, winemakers, we have brewery owners, winery owners, people that are opening distilleries or own distilleries. And then there's just a lot of people too that are interested in the craft of hobby distilling, and they want to learn about it. And it's a really distilling in general, I think, right? The whole distilling community, especially home distilling community, everybody is really, it's an eclectic group of people for sure.
Yeah.
We are very interesting, all of us.
You could say that.
I think I like the way that you do your classes. I mean, I know enough, we talk enough, and I know like what you teach, and the fact that you cover everything from, how to do grain conversions, how to do sugar additions if you need to, or if that's your, the first step, maybe you want to stay with sugar additions until you learn, you're comfortable doing an all grain. But you cover all those bases, and people, they leave your class with a solid foundation of fermentation and distillation and troubleshooting things on both sides of that.
Yeah, I try to give people, like you said it perfectly, a good jumping off point and a really solid foundation, so that when they go out into the world and they start, they have the right skills. And essentially, I just give them all the tools in the box. Like, here's a box of tools. I made sure all the tools are in there for you guys. So when you go and you go to do this on your own, you're going to go in your toolbox, and they're all in there for you. Yep. We send you home with like all the literature from the class, and then the consulting is a big part of it, because it's really about who you know. And for me, the way that I was able to become a better distiller was the resources that I gained and the friends that I have in the industry. I can call you, Wayne, if I need to, and we talk about just like, hey, what do you think about this? And
I love those conversations.
That's what's really allowed me to grow much more rapidly. Being able to talk to Chris Yahara, go to his distillery, learn from him, my experience at Mount Vernon and all the people that I got to meet there also changed my life a great bit. Just the historic trades workshop for veterans that we did. I got to meet Eric Wolf, and I got to really hang out with and become friends with Alan Bishop there. And those people are, what are you drinking?
Stolen Wolf.
Oh, the Stolen Wolf. Okay.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I got this, which
I don't have any Stolen Wolf whiskey, so I'm drinking Elijah Craig rye.
He's just got the glass.
I got lots of Stolen Wolf, but I was so excited because Stolen Wolf is doing some crazy stuff. But I just got this.
Oh, I heard.
Ginger's
I've
gin.
seen that.
So he sent this to me, but I've been away. I haven't been home, and
I've heard it's
I
quite,
did pop
quite
this open and
delicious.
taste it the other day, and I was like, "Whoa, holy smokes!" So I texted Alan before I got the bottles and everything, and he's like, "I sent you a package," and Jay had to go get it from the post office for me, and so he had it, and he knew what I got before I did, and I was like, "You got to tell me what Alan sent me, man!" I was like dying to know, so I got the White Cliff
You know
Bell,
what, Alan?
and I got the Two Gingers gin. So
Man.
this is like, again, when I first started drinking, I think I enjoyed gin because it was like it was an interesting spirit, and I didn't really like barrel aged things, but I very quickly got away from liking gin because it's very normally dry, over juniper,
Mhm.
you know, and
Yep.
it's just an overwhelming flavor. But this is actually he's doing a fermented orange juice as the base of
Oh,
the
yeah.
spirit.
He's been posting a lot of videos this past week that they're doing another batch of that. So they're, he's fermenting another.
I'm gonna have to call him.
Oh my god, you got to get this before, like, I know he's making more of it, but I think it's going to sell
And
out pretty soon.
Wayne, when are we going? When are we going out there, Wayne?
we actually, I've got Alan's dad has been down a little bit, and they've been doing some stuff. He's back home.
Oh,
But yeah,
Dale Bishop?
old
I gotta-
Dale Bishop.
I got to call Old Dale Bishop.
Yeah, old Dale, he's good dude. But Alan's been, he's had a lot on his plate. So I'm gonna get with him. I think Michael Woody, Distiller Woody,
Mhm.
is gonna join us.
Okay.
So we can all three hang out at the distillery at Alan's. And
you know what? I've had some people actually reach out to me about that and wanting to know when we're going because they want to make it a big thing.
Oh, that's cool.
Really?
Let me know.
Like
I want to
20,
go.
30, 40 people showing up.
Well, I want to
Really?
go too then.
So
we could.
They have a whole hotel. It's
Yeah,
literally
they
like this
do.
huge freaking place where the old homestead is.
They do, and
so we gotta nail down a date, a time frame.
Yeah, because we got a project that we're working on. That would be a perfect opportunity to do that.
Yep, let's do that, and we'll get out there and surprise Alan, and we'll have all
Well, you're not going to
kinds
surprise
of,
him because
No,
now you've just blown
you can't surprise Alan Bishop.
He's not watching this.
He knows. He's looking into his glass ball and he's like, "Oh, they're planning something. I can feel it."
He's gonna be surprised at how much of his liquor I can drink.
He does a good job, though. He makes some good stuff. He really does.
Yeah, this is so like delightful. This gin.
I heard that
I'm telling you.
You like it just straight.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I could see that it would be great mixed in a cocktail, like excellent. But
I'm a neat person.
Oh man, no, me too. So it's just like super nice and sweet and floral and very, very like sweet, pleasant orange.
So yeah, I had
really nice orange. Like it's good. And for me, he might take this as an insult, but I mean this as a compliment because one of my favorite candies is orange Tic Tacs. But because they're like creamy and
minty
and like a little like effervescent and refreshing.
Yeah.
And this is like all of those things. It's like got a creaminess, it's sweet, it's orange, and it's bright and refreshing. So
yeah, his alchemy skills are on point. He does great stuff, especially his absinthe. I've had a few different
I want some of that
he's made. It's just
some of his Gruit.
He is a wizard with he's a wizard with that stuff.
Yeah. But like these guys, like if it wasn't for the resources that I had in the industry and my friends, that has just entirely, it's helped me so much to be where I am today. I would not be where I am without the community of people that I have around me.
Amanda, for any upcoming women, girls from any age that are looking to you for any kind of advice on doing what you do.
Yeah.
What do you have?
So I would say if you really want advice and you're a female in the distilling industry, you can email me directly because I would be happy to give you specific guidance if you're needing specifically wherever your situation is. I'm Amanda at ubdistilling.com, the letter U, the letter B, distilling.com. I would be more than happy to personally talk to you if you want to get in the industry. I'll help you out however I can. And just offer general advice to any female, I would say it's not, they say it's a male dominated industry. I don't experience that. I have experienced females being treated differently than males in the workplace, but that's common in any industry, in every job. I think that's everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Where women people don't think women should get paid as much
Right.
as men, and not necessarily like a distilling industry type of a thing. I don't think. But this is definitely an industry that will welcome you, and it's fun. And it's something that for me and the women that I know that are involved, we really love it and we're really passionate about it. And I think there's a lot of women that would also support you in this industry and try to help you to learn whatever you need to figure out where you need to be. But don't be afraid to do the scary thing. Do that scary thing.
Yeah, do it.
So I have a question for. I have a young daughter, 12 years old, and she loves to watch what I watch. And she knows that I'm friends with Amanda Bryant.
My granddaughter is the same way.
And I'm sure I'm not the only person out there that has a young daughter that sits with them and watches you on TV.
Isn't that so scary? Like, if you would have told me a couple of years ago, like,
you're a great role model.
That women or children, especially younger women, I would be a role model for, I would have said that you were crazy.
Well,
but I am
what
very honored.
What would you say to those little girls?
It's okay if you don't know what you want to do now, right? Because when I was your age, when I was young, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a paleontologist. I wanted to be an Egyptologist. I studied art, paleontology, Egyptology. I did whatever I wanted to do. Ultimately, I just really followed my heart, and I believed that I could do the things I wanted to do. And ultimately, if someone tells you you can't do something, you use that as a driving force to do it 10 times harder. And I didn't know that I would ever get into distilling. Until one day when somebody dropped it in front, it just, boom, fell right into my lap. And I was like, this is where it's at. Right. So I had no idea what I wanted to do. And I was hard on myself growing up because I didn't have it all figured out. But it's okay. You don't have to have it all figured out. As long as you just keep doing whatever crazy thing you love to do. It doesn't matter what it is or how crazy it is. If you're just do the thing that you love. And they say if you do what you love, you won't work a day in your life. I think you'll work 10 times harder, but you will love what you do.
You do. That loving your job makes everything so worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's hard. I mean, not everybody can really love what they do for a job, but that would be my advice. If I had a daughter or I was talking to your daughter or your granddaughter, I would tell them, don't worry about what you're going to do when you're an adult. Just do right now what you really love and continue to do the things that you love and give time to the things that make you happy. And if you can make a career out of that, well, nobody's more expert than you are at the things that you really love.
Right. Awesome.
That's amazing. Yeah.
I didn't know y'all were going to spin this on me like this, you tricksters.
Yeah, well.
Well, we're talking about women in distillation. What did you expect?
I mean, and you were obviously the choice to have on here, and all the posts that you've been putting out over the past few weeks, is, Damon and I, we weren't sure where we were going to go with this month's podcast, and then we talked about a couple different things, and then we started seeing your post, and Damon's like, "Hey," he said, "it is Women's History Month, and let's put off what we were going to do and let's do this." And
I appreciate y'all doing that because you would not believe the negativity you get on social media when you talk about women. People automatically think that you don't like men or you hate men or that you're a feminist or something like, I'm like, calm down, everyone. I'm just literally talking about the history of other women in my craft because it's interesting, because their stories are interesting. I'm not saying anything else. People have said that it's, my historical parts are satire, and then giving me the definition of satire. And I was like, wow, you are something else, But statistically, I will get unfollowed on average more than I get followed for posting stories. But I do it not for the following, not for it's popularity, but I want people to read, and these women in the distilling industry, ultimately, if I have to say anything on this topic, is that women have been doing it in the distilling, from the infancy of distilling and fermentation and alcohol. And they've done it throughout times where it was not easy for them to do. And they became examples or shining examples of doing the thing that's not easy and persevering essentially in tough times and following, doing what you want to do or doing what you have to do. But essentially the story of women in distilling is a story of perseverance. And I admire that.
There we go. Bad Santa chimes in. Good riddance to anyone who don't follow for that. Bad Santa, we were talking about you earlier. Hope you were paying attention because Amanda had some good things to say about you.
Oh, yeah. Just blow up my spot. Way to go, Damon. Yeah.
Now, I think that and along those lines, as Bad Santa, if anybody's going to,
that's on average. That's my statistics that I see through my algorithms on social media. Is it'll say how many on the medium of you either have negative or positive followers from a specific piece of content.
If anybody's gonna unfollow you for
that's okay. They were on the wrong page anyway.
The strength of women. Do they not know who they're talking to? I mean,
piss on them.
I mean, come on. I mean. I, for one, am a huge, strong believer that our society, how it's built today, is greatly influenced by the care, nurturing, and respect that women give men in times of need.
Yeah, if you put men in charge of everything, it's just you gotta. I mean, they're good at certain things, but you'd have a mess, chaos. Without women, you got chaos.
You look at in ancient times, battles when wars were won and lost by the words of women. I mean, chieftains and warlords went to war because their women said they disrespected us. You need to go fix this.
It's still happening today in the ghetto, and like, let's go. You gotta go defend my name. I only say that because I am traditionally a hood rat. And that's something that not everybody knows about me, is that I do come from a little bit of a ghetto background.
Let me swallow.
That's what you reminded me of. Is like you're talking about ancient times where the women are like, we got to go to war. You got to defend me.
You're like, I'm a hood rat.
Hood rat.
She's throwing up gang signs and stuff. I'm a hood rat.
We did.
You're out in Philly though, right? That's where you were.
Yeah, North Philadelphia.
The new teacher.
Where's the best Philly cheesesteak you can get?
Oof, that's too hard. to. I appreciate different Philly cheesesteaks from all different places. I'm going to Philly
for one day, and I need one Philly cheesesteak. Where am I going?
Whoa, I might get hated on for this, right? I love Steve's Prince of Steaks because they're all over, and I like Steve's because if you wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning and you want a cheesesteak for breakfast, they are awake. They are open and they will make it for you at their cheesesteak place. The big ones that everybody talks about is Gino's and Pat's, but really you want to go to like a little corner bodega and just get a regular Philly cheesesteak with American. A Whiz Wit also is.
You're with the cheese whiz?
So yeah, I prefer American cheese now because I don't know, I just don't do cheese. I used to do the cheese whiz, but I do with fried onions, and American is the way to go.
Yeah.
Really?
So Steve's, they don't chop up the steak.
Yeah, see, I don't like the onions.
But it's
I love onions, don't get me wrong.
It's a preference. I
just don't like cooked onions. Grilled onions, all that. Yeah, the texture.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Amanda, in about a month, I'm going to be heading my way to Philadelphia. And I'm going to check out these places you just told me about.
There's like 3 of them, so they're more accessible. They're easy to get to. They're good.
Oh, you need a Philly cheese taco.
No, that's an abomination.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Is there a such thing as a Philly cheese taco?
Oh, I would try one.
There will be now.
Wow. Because I'll eat that shit.
No shit.
All day long.
Yeah.
All day.
Yeah, I gotta make my way up there.
Now we've kind of gone off track here on Women's History Month. Okay. Does anybody, Wayne, Amanda, do you have anything else? Any other women you want to bring up, talk about?
God damn it! I see. There's probably lots of women that I'm just not thinking of right now because I'm on camera.
I got a list here. I mean,
no, I mean like my friends in the distilling industry, like the people that I should be. Friends. Yeah.
Lisa Lowry. You know Lisa Lowry?
Oh yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, Lisa Lowry is awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was also. I I saw her first on Master Distiller. But she does distillery consulting now, and she's very intelligent. And she also is somebody who I have reached out to and been like, hey, can you give me advice on this topic? And she very freely shared her experience with me. She's a really, really awesome woman, and she's helped out multiple people that I know in her state with labels and advice. And you can hire her to consult for you, but she'll also
she's awesome.
Lend advice if you need it.
She's really nice. I don't know, Lisa Lauer. I think I used to chit chat with her online. I think it was Uncle Moonshine's podcast that she used to be on all the time back in the day. And I never really met her in person until one time I went to one of these jar releases at Sugarlands. But when I met her in person and I talked to her, I was like, I've known you for forever. She's awesome. Lisa Lauer's good. She's a good woman. I'm happy to know her.
I know you guys know Mina from.
Oh yeah, she's out in North Carolina. Is she in North Carolina?
Yeah, she's at the pharmacy right now. I think she's partner. She's like a partial owner of that, which I'm super happy for her because I've known her for a couple years now, and she deserves it. She deserves to be like an owner of her business. She's so smart and so much intellectual, like to contribute, just so much creativity and knowledge to contribute to the business, whatever business that she's in. She's a botanist, right? And she's very, very intelligent. She has a wealth of knowledge with botanicals and florals and just, she's basically making medicine.
And I think that, sure, because she was a master distiller. And
she won the absinthe episode for the first time.
Shortly after that, I looked her up to what distillery I think she was in. Was she in Raleigh, Durham area? I think.
Yes, when I met her, she was in Raleigh.
Because I was living in Sanford, North Carolina, which is only about half an hour, 40 minutes from Raleigh, and I was like, but my work didn't allow me to go by there and actually meet her. But
I woke up one day when we were filming, and I had I can't remember. I mean, at this time, I was drinking recreationally when I first met her, and we were doing a tournament together, and we were hanging out with Howard and Richard Landry, and they were all just like, we need to go out and have some drinks. And there was a snowstorm in Tennessee. So forgive me, Tennessee. I love you. I love everything about you. And I would live there if I could, but 4 inches of snow in Tennessee. And everybody's like, no, everything needs to close down. It's dangerous. Everybody's crashing their cars. There was 4 inches of snow. Everything was closed. And we found like a bar restaurant that was open and drank quite a bit of alcohol. Thankfully, we were not filming the following day, which is probably why they convinced me to go out with them. And I woke up the next morning and both of my eyes were swollen almost completely shut.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't know what was wrong with me. And I'm like, thank God I don't have to be on camera today, because if I did, that would be horrible. But I called Mina and I was like, hey, do you know any remedies for inflammation? And she literally was like, meet me in the parking lot. And she had this bag with her that was like a traveling pharmacy, where she just kind of started breaking down all of these natural and medicinal remedies for me. And I was just like, this chick she's just as awesome as I thought she was,
That's awesome. And that's talking about moving to Tennessee. I live in the mountains in Tennessee, over in Upper Cumberland Mountains. They closed.
Okay, I was wondering where you were. They closed like the Cumberland Gap area.
You got Nashville and Knoxville. I'm like right in the middle, toward the top, toward Kentucky. Dale Hollow.
So you're in the Cumberland Gap.
Yeah.
I love the Cumberland Gap.
I'm out in the middle of fucking nowhere up here. It's
beautiful.
And they closed school for nothing. I mean, there'll be like a light snow. School's canceled. And I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? I can drive my kid to school. But the problem is there's so many people up here that have roads worse than mine that when it snows a little bit, nobody can fucking leave. So they're like, we can't. We got to close everything down because the population of the town that I live closest to is 2,000.
Wow.
So we have, I live a half an hour from that town.
Wow.
So
when I was in Tennessee, like maybe a week ago, We woke up in the morning and there was snow on all of the mountains, right? I'm in like the Newport, Cosby area. So you're on the ground, but you can see the mountains like
See
all
this?
around you. There's literally snowstorms everywhere around us, but it's just raining where we are. But there was, so certain places, right, 5 minutes from where you are have been impacted greatly by snow and ice, and where you're at, the roads are fine. So it's
So
crazy weather patterns there.
Bad Santa's been up to my place, and he says go to BFE and then ask for directions to Damon's.
Oh, jeez.
So that's
So
how
they
I
know
got my
you
place.
there. You're well known.
Out in BFE. Yeah, you'll know where I'm at. Wes
What's
Harden showing
BFE?
up. Nice.
Yeah. A while ago, you mentioned Howard. He's going to be at the Louisiana Moonshine Festival. Howard's a hoot.
I look forward to the Belmont Farms is in May the 2nd. A whole bunch of us are going to be at Belmont Farms, and he's always there.
I'm gonna, I was supposed to make it to Louisiana Moonshine Festival. Unfortunately, work.
Don't tell me. Don't tell me you ain't.
I'm gonna try my hardest to get over there because it's not so far from where I have to go, but they had an emergency.
Don't make me get Howard to come help me record an episode.
Oh my God, totally use Howard because it would be the best. He's so much fun and he's so good to film with. He's hilarious. He's so fun.
Grab Howard and go over there with you. Do that.
Amanda, you gotta hook me up with, I can message him on Messenger, but yeah, I'll reach out.
Oh, we're practically related. Yeah. Howard's
a hoot. I got to meet him at Maggie Valley. He's just so fun.
I was everybody kept here, give this to Howard, and I'm like, dude, everybody's giving me like 20 jars. I'm like, this is one fucking guy. I'm not gonna give him 20 fucking jars. Give this to Howard. And I'm like,
you're taking on quite a responsibility to transport about a bunch of moonshine to somebody.
You know what I did? I took most of that shit home with me. I'm telling everybody out there right now. Howard got like 3 jars. The rest of it came home with me.
Well, you're gonna be. I was gonna bring you a jar of the spicy corn whiskey, but since you're not coming, then I guess I'll give it to Howard.
Look, I'm gonna try.
Okay.
But if I can't make it, you know what? It really sucks because I really hoped on being there because there was a lot that we wanted to do with Louisiana Moonshine Company.
Right. I'll do my best to keep that going, and
I'm gonna try my hardest to still be there.
Okay. So let's go ahead and plug that while we're here. Next weekend, or is it?
Whoa! She just popped the fuck off. She's like, "Fuck you guys!" And the way
she's like, "I'm out. I'm outie." The 27th and 8th of this month, Louisiana Moonshine Festival, put on by Louisiana Moonshine Company, correct?
And
oh yeah, there's a ton of other
Vernon Parish and
there's a ton of other involvement into that. Tom Fleming from he's our contact, and so yeah, we'll be there. Ozark Steelworks will be there. We'll have 3 different stills set up. One belongs to a customer, the other 2 are for sale, and we'll have other good things. We'll have some of our The Proof Is Out There podcast shirts. And yeah, we're gonna have.
I'm gonna send a message to Amanda right now. You disappeared. I bet I bet she didn't have her laptop plugged in.
Oh, that could be. Yeah, I keep mine plugged in when we're on podcast because it won't last.
Yeah, I bet you that's what it was. But we had a good episode. I mean,
we did. It was great.
Damon Pears seemed to have made it through the freeze. You know what that means, Wes Harden? Last year, I'm going to tell you real quick. Last year, I met some new friends, April and Wes Harden.
Yeah,
out in Elizabeth. Yeah, you've talked to her.
Yeah, Wes, great folks.
They have a huge bunch of land over there by Elizabethton, really close to Tracy Bumgarner.
Right.
And they gave me a literal metric shit ton of autumn olives and wild pears.
That was good stuff, by the way.
And I made some. Amanda lost internet. She's trying to get back on. Okay. But I made some brandy that I respectively called Circle H because that's the name of their farm.
Okay.
But Wes just said here, the pears seem to have made it through the freeze, and so did the autumn olives. So you know what might be coming up this next year? More of that Circle H. Brandy.
Brother, Jen and I went out. My so we have a peach tree in the backyard.
Mhm.
The first year we got it, it had 2 peaches on it when we bought it. We put it in the ground. We ate those 2 peaches. They were really good. And absolutely. Shots. Anyway, so the next 2 years, not a single bloom on this tree. And I was like, crap, I was pruning it, taking care of it. And so I got pissed off and I was like, I'm not trimming a damn limb on this thing. And this year it bloomed out like crazy. I've never seen so many blooms. And we had a freeze come in. And so Jen and I wrapped it up in tarps and hung water bottles in this per Tom Crum and Kenny Parker. They's like, hang the water bottles. I don't know what that does, but I did it because these 2 guys told me to. And I trust, I trust these 2 guys, trust them with my life. Maybe a bad decision, but I do it anyway. Anyway, so, and then I hung a heat lamp about chest high, and I got through the first freeze, and then Jen went out and uncovered it, and then we've been like 70s and 80s and all this shit, and these peach blooms are just popping, and little peaches coming on. You can see them, and then all of a sudden we had 2 days that were in the low 20s. And so we're wrapping these things up. You know, I did it again, and the top of the tree kind of got a little frostbite, you know, but most of the blooms were down low, and we wrapped it up about 12 feet up or so. And so it looks like we saved the crop. So
nice.
Peach brandy.
Nice.
If I can, you know, she don't make jelly out of all of it, but anyway.
Well, I'm really looking forward to getting some of those wild pears. And that was the thing too. The wild pears.
So they're wild pears?
Yeah, they're not. They're pears. They just randomly show up on pear trees out in the property.
Really?
They're not cultivated. They're not. So they were wild pears, and they gave me a metric shit ton of these fucking wild pears, and a whole bunch of these autumn olives. And I think what came out of it was, I think it was really good. Did you tasted some of it? Didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Did you?
Yeah, I liked it. It's a unique taste for sure.
Yeah, it's different. I mean, you can definitely taste the autumn olive in the back, and the it's just, Wes Harden says 250 pounds of pears. That's a metric shit ton. Wes, that's a metric shit ton. Okay, he's 250 pounds of pears, metric shit ton. Right. But I'm really hoping that I can redo that this year, because the flavors to me were, I mean, they were just exploding everywhere, and I loved it.
Okay, so Damon, you gotta, this year when you harvest the autumn olives, I need some seeds, bro.
I'll get you seeds. Wes, we can hook Wayne up with some seeds, can we? I'm sure Wes he's got enough trees on his property. Mm-hmm. He can hook you up with some seeds. Of course, it might cost you a jar or two, but
he'll fine. I got plenty of jars. Nobody likes my liquor.
What? Who? Yeah, I don't like it. So whatever you don't want, just give it to me, and I'll dispose of it. You know.
Actually, I hope you do make it, because I've got so my buddy Dale Tucker brought me.
Is that Wayne?
Oh yeah. Oh, gotcha. Thank you, Wes. I appreciate you, bud. So my customer, one of my customers, and one of my good friends, Dale Tucker, he brought me. He's about 3 hours or so from here. He brought me some grain from, and a little plug here for Schoolhouse Farms and Vaughn Davis. Vaughn's a great guy. He brought me some stuff by yesterday. He was traveling through and he made a delivery for me. So I've got some of his grain here. But so he gave me, Dale gave me some grain. He mixed up some red, white, and blue from the grain, the corn that he got from Vaughn. He gave me enough to do 2 batches. And so I use I think it's a Hickory King white, and Ohio blue and Bloody Butcher. And yeah, you're about out of Crummy's shit there, ain't you?
No, this is actually Flaming Aces Distillery.
Oh,
this is Stony Creek Moonshine, and I believe it's Hickory King. I believe it is.
Good stuff.
I'm almost out of that too.
Yeah.
It's caramely almost.
Oh yeah. That's that sweet corn coming through. That's probably yeah. So he gave me these enough to do 2 batches, and I blended that with rye and red wheat. And so it's a bourbon mash bill, but I cut it for white whiskey. Anyway, I will have some of that at the Moonshine Festival in Louisiana.
Well, hopefully I'll be there.
And well, I hope you are too, because I'm actually kind of proud of that one. That came out really, really good. And that's the first red, white, and blue I did. I got to send some of that out to Crummy, along with I'm sending him some of my spicy corn whiskey. He's gonna make Bloody Marys with it.
See this? You see these?
Yeah.
You see all these peppers? You know where I got those from, right?
Yeah, you should already have them started, dude.
Well, we gotta get the our ground up here. We gotta get it. It's very wet.
You start them on the inside. Start them in the house.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, you can go to Walmart and get you a couple little grill light tubes, and my those peppers that I gave you, mine are, they're up there.
Well, I'm gonna let you know that Amanda said they're having bad weather up where she's at, and her router is flashing red. So that's why Amanda popped off here real quick. It wasn't because she didn't like Wayne or me, really.
Right. I mean, she
has
tolerates
better internet.
Yeah,
she tolerates us.
She
tolerates us because of Jay.
Yeah.
No, Amanda, Bryant, we love you, and we appreciate you bringing the importance of women into distillation, into our lives, and to letting us know what that importance is and how far back it actually goes.
Yeah.
I didn't know that information. I'm not surprised, but it's good to know that information, and I appreciate you for that.
With her being a woman in the distilling industry, she's more privy to that information, because I mean it matters more to her. I mean,
well, you know what, Wayne? There are 2 women that she mentioned tonight, Marianne Eves and Alex Castle.
Yeah.
That she has not met. I will make it my purpose to make sure that they meet her. And I'm going to work my hardest to get that, make that happen. However it is. Now, she may not be watching right now because she has no internet, so she doesn't know. Everybody,
we're plotting.
Shh. It's a secret. But I'm going to work. I'm going to contact these people because I have contacts. And I'm going to reach out to these people and try and see if we can get them hooked up.
Anybody get a chance to come out to the Louisiana Moonshine Festival? Come see us. Come hang out. And I don't think. Let's see. I'm not doing anything else after that for a while, but definitely doing that.
Well, we have. I'm making it. We have Beattyville coming up. We have popcorn coming up. I know there was somebody asked in the comments here about popcorn.
Yeah,
I'm gonna try my hardest to be there. What I need to do is go ahead and put in for my PTO time, so that way they can't call me in for emergencies.
If you do the popcorn, let me know. I might, because that's not that far from me.
Popcorn's over here in Newport, Tennessee.
Yeah, well, I'm next door to Tennessee, so I can I can probably slip over to that. I've got some vacation time, but I've got to take Mama on a vacation. So
Hey,
I've got to watch my shit.
If you want, Dale Hollow Lake's up real close to me. It's a huge vacation spot, lake, freshwater lake.
Oh yeah,
come up vacation up here, brother.
Ooh,
I'll hang out with you all
send
day
me
long.
send me the link, and we'll have to work on Jen. You just have to help me.
I got no problem with that. You got a beautiful wife. She's wonderful. She's awesome.
She's a good one.
She's awesome. You're lucky.
I am lucky. She's a good woman.
You definitely married up, Wayne.
I did.
I love you, Wayne.
All right, love you too, brother.
Yeah. But everybody out there, I thank you so much for hanging out with us for 2 hours and 20 minutes.
No tonight. Shit.
Most of the time with Amanda here. But Poconos has some bad weather going on here. So thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you for listening to Wayne and I babble on and on, back and forth.
Yep.
We got some big things coming.
We do.
For the proof is out there.
It's definitely got some big things coming, some changes coming. Not necessarily changes with the podcast, but additions to the podcast in a different direction.
Yep. Keep the eye out. Keep an eye out, and follow Wayne and all his Facebooks and the YouTubes, Ozark Distilling, Ozark Stillworks, and Wayne Herbert. And does Jen have anything out there, or she just?
Nah, she does it. She likes to remain anonymous.
All right, cool. Well, everybody out there, thank you so much once again. Bad Santa, I love you.
Yeah.
We'll talk to y'all later.
See you, Joe.
And it is time to go.
Peace out. Love y'all.
Refreshing.
Oh, wait, are we still rolling?
Oh!